Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Hey everybody, greetings from Polar Vortex, Chicagoland. That's what it's been doing, snowing quite a bit here. It's just kind of relentless. It just won't let up. Seems like every day or every other day we're getting an inch or two, and it's been in the teens for highs and sub-zero at night, and oh man, it's just, it's living in Chicago. That's what it's about. So anyway, enough weather talk. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. Today's video is focusing on Bonzo's crash cymbals, particularly his Paiste cymbals. Bonzo was using some other types of cymbals early on. There might have been some Paiste in there, but it looked to me like he had Zildjians for the first few months that the band was in existence, from late 68 until very early 69. And in the last video, I talked about his ride cymbals and did a demo of those, which you can see if you haven't seen. I'll post a link to it. And I suppose that he had Zildjians at that time. But who knows, maybe there was a Paiste in there or two, maybe there was a Zin cymbal in there. It's really hard to tell what he was using. Zin is a British manufacturer, and a lot of the British guys used them, like Ringo Starr, and Bill Ward from Sabbath was known to use Zin cymbals. So anyway, regarding the crash cymbals, when he started using Paiste, I think it was when he got his first Ludwig kit, which was arranged for him by Carmine Appice, and I'm assuming that he got some cymbals at that same time, although it's hard to tell what he had for those first few months on tour in the US in early 1969. So he certainly had 602 cymbals, and by the time you see the Danish TV special, which is in March of 69, and Super Show, which is I think June of 69, the Paris Tous en Scène video, which is also I think June or maybe July, I think it's late June of 69. There's some overhead shots, and you can see those look to me like 602s. The giant beats have a slightly different color, and also I think that the hammering looks different. The 602s have a bit more lathing. So I'm going to show you the cymbals that I have now here. These are all 602s, vintage, most likely from sometime in the 60s. These are all pre-serial. So the ride you're familiar with if you've seen my previous video. This is a 20-inch concert cymbal. It actually says concert C1. I don't know if you can see that clearly there. And the bell hole is slightly larger to accommodate the concert type, the handheld straps. But in all other respects, it's 2142 grams, and it's pretty much a 20-inch crash cymbal, kind of a medium heavyweight. I really like this cymbal a lot. I'll hold it up for the front camera as well. You can see that. Okay, and that's the only vintage 20-inch 602 that I have. Now this is most likely same era. It really feels similar. The lathing, just the feel of it, the weight. This is 1734 grams. This is an 18-inch crash. I wouldn't call this a thin crash. I would call this a medium crash, if you could see that also. And I'll hold that up. It's nice and clean. This is in great shape. Now, the hats are also 15-inch pre-serial number Sound Edge 602s. And I'm going to do a separate video that's devoted to hi-hats only. So I'm not really going to talk about the hats today. I'm going to specifically talk about the crashes and the corresponding eras that he used them. So he was using 602s, I believe, from early 69, possibly during the US tour he got some. He also may have been using some of Carmine's cymbals, because Carmine is quoted someplace. I can't make a a reference to the source, but I've heard this said, that Carmine said that he lent Bonzo some cymbals, or that he just used some of his giant beats while they were on tour together in February of 1969 in the U.S. But certainly by March, when you see like the Denmark TV special, he has what looks to me like a nice fresh set of 602s, a 24, a 16, and an 18. Now this is an 18 and a 20. I don't have a 16 602. But I think he used those cymbals pretty much through 69, the spring of 69 into the summer, at which point, oh, and also 14-inch hi-hats, and they were not sound edge. And I think he used that setup pretty much until you see him, he adds another cymbal, and it's hard to tell what that cymbal is, if it's an 18-inch Zildjian, because the cup looks a little bigger and different, or if it's just an 18-inch 602 as well. And then I think that's when he's got a 20 602 on this side. Although, now I'm not sure. It might be an 18. At any rate, sometime in July, he seems to get a nice new set of 602s, and they're playing Chicago. There's some photographs from the Kinetic Playground gig. And you can see there's a famous photo of him like getting up on his stool, and he's like stepping over onto his bass drum or something. And he's got two crashes here, and everything looks new. And I wonder if he came to Chicago, and somebody from Ludwig Factory, which was here at that time, either brought him a set, or he went down there, or Mick Hinton, or somebody picked up a set of new cymbals for him. Because from that point on, it seems like the hi-hats are 15-inch. And they're still not sound edge, but they're 15-inch 602s, what look like 602s. So that's pretty much the setup for the 602s that he uses through the end of the year into early 1970, when you see Royal Albert Hall in January of 70. Now, I still can't tell if he's using giant beats or 602s at Royal Albert Hall. I think, Terry thinks that they're 602s. There are times where in the Moby Dick footage, you can see the hi-hat, and he's playing the hi-hat on all four beats, and they seem a little bit more like giant beat to me, but it's just so hard to tell with the, the exposure, the lighting. It's not really bright enough to clearly see any kind of labels, or even lathing is hard to tell. But definitely the ride looks a bit more like the 602. So if you look at the equipment list that is pretty commonly seen, it's from Peisty, and it has a list of the cymbals that he either bought or was given from around 1970 to 73. And I've posted a link or an image of it in the last video. I'll post another one right here now. But in that list, the first time that you see an order, it's for giant beats and 602 sound edge hi-hats, and also giant beat hi-hats and a set of giant beat cymbals, and that's February of 70. So basically right after the UK dates in 70, he ordered up a bunch of giant beats, a set of giant beats, and some sound edge hi-hats. And they were about to do a European tour in February of 70. So just before that little tour, he gets these cymbals, and the photos that I've seen look to me like now he's using giant beats from late February up until March. Though all those dates, like they played in Copenhagen, they played in Montreux. There's several pictures where you can see he has sound edge hi-hats. There's a couple pictures from Montreux where you clearly see he's got sound edge. I really didn't think he was using sound edge that early in like February of 1970. But apparently he started using the 602 sound edges then, and he stuck with those for a long time, because he played sound edge hi-hats, 602s, all the way up to most likely late 72, early 73. And then he got the 2002 sound edges, and I think he got those for the American tour. I don't see too many pictures at all that could be taken for giant beat hi-hats. Like all throughout 71, 72, most of the pictures that I've ever seen There's definitely ripples. That means they're sound edge 602 hi-hats. So, yeah, that's basically it when it comes to the 602s. So I think he used them from early 69 up until about January of 70. And he may have had some giant beats that he was using off and on, but that equipment list doesn't indicate anything earlier than 1970. So I don't know if he just didn't officially have an endorsement with Paiste until February of 70, or if he did have an endorsement or they gave him Cymbals, but it just wasn't formalized in writing, or there's just a page missing. Who knows? I mean, as far as getting into the micro forensic detail, I'm limited to just what I can find on the internet, basically, and in books. So what I'm going to do next is demonstrate all of my cymbals that are related to my videos, whatever I use in my videos. So if I'm doing something from an era where he was playing giant beats, like 72, let's say, or something, I'll set up the giant beats, or even if it's earlier, and I mix and match too, but I generally like to keep the sort of period correctness about the cymbals with the particular covers that I'm doing. When it comes to studio, stuff, and even some of the live stuff, like if I'm doing something that's from Song Remains the Same, I'll have a giant beat ride with 2002 crashes and hi-hats, so that kind of thing. So, without further ado, I'm going to play these 602s, and then I'm going to play the giant beats, which, as I said, I believe he started using sometime February of 70, and then he seems to play those through 71 and 72, like, for example, photographs that you see from Japan, 1971. That's September of 71. Those all look like giant beats except for the hats. Those are 602 sound edge. Same thing with the dates in the U.S. in 72 when they recorded How the West Was Won. Sound edge 15s with 3 giant beats. That's what I believe that was. And then, of course, occasionally he would sometimes have another cymbal off on the right, sometimes up high, sometimes even down low, like on the European tour of 73. You see a couple pictures where he's got something over here. It could be a 20 even, and it's down over here. But generally, those cymbals are all giant beat up until you get to the winter of 73, like Europe 73, which is around March. And at that point, he's still, I think, playing giant beats, but he has one Paiste 2002 crash over here. It's a 16. And that's the first time you see a 2002 crash. And it's in the spring Europe tour. And then when they do this, the 10th American tour of the States, which was the Song Remains the Same tour, that's from May through July of 73, he's got all 2002s except the ride. The ride is a giant beat ride. 2002 crashes, 18 and 20, and 2002 sound edge hi-hats. And that's going to be his setup for 73 and 75. In 75, I don't see any evidence of a 2002 ride. To me, that's clearly a giant beat. You don't see the stamp under the cymbal. You see the stamp under the crashes, but you don't see one under the ride. The shape of the ride looks more like a giant beat, and the coloring, if you see clear pictures, the color is definitely more giant beat color, more of that coppery color. And then in 77, he's got all 2002s. 2002 ride, 2002 crashes, usually 3 of them, and the sound edge hats. And that's what he played for the rest of his career. He may have thrown up a 602 here or there as an auxiliary crash or something, but he stayed with 2002s to the end after 77. So that's the history lesson. Now I'm going to demonstrate these cymbals starting with the 602s. So I'm going to get my mixer turned on, and here we go. 602s. Okay, so here's the giant beats, and this is an 18-inch giant beat. White label, but the label is faded. So take a look at that, if you can see that well. There's the stamp at 3 o'clock. And this one weighs 1474 grams. So hold that up. Now to me, this is the sound that you hear on the Immigrant song, that cymbal, and Since I've Been Loving You. It's like quintessential giant beat 18. Here's the 20, and very similar look, similar hammering, fine lathing. The lathing doesn't look as deep to me as the 602 lathing. And classic giant beat bell profile. This one weighs 1868 grams, so a little lighter for a 20-inch crash. There it is. And this is the old trusty giant beat 24 that you can see a trace of the white label on this one. And again, I'm going to post a link to the previous video I did profiling the ride cymbals only. So, now these are giant beat hats as well, 15-inch hats. I don't see too many, if any, photos at all of Bonzo playing giant beat hats, but maybe he had giant beat hats sometime in '69 up to about Royal Albert Hall. Those could be giant beat hats, but I tend to think not. One of the reasons I don't think he played giant beat hats too much is they bend easily. Like these are pretty, wiggly looking on the edges. There's a lot of dents, and if you really wail on them, they're going to bend. So I would think playing live, hitting as hard as he did and as often, he would go through several pairs on a tour, but who knows. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this now. Get the mixer rolling. Here's the giant beat crashes. Giant beats. Okay, so last of all are the 2002s. Now, The ride you're familiar with if you watched the last video. This crash is an 18, and the stamp, the serial number is 722431. So this is 1972, kind of on the early side for 2002. The weight is 1339 grams. There's a look at it. Get it right side up. And this is a beautiful crash. I've had this crash for a long time. I've had this one for maybe about 15 years or so. And I've got two 20-inch crashes. One is a medium. This is the medium. This one has very nice hammering, if you can see that. This one dates to 1974, 436320. The first number of the serial number. So if it's 6 digits, that first number indicates the last number of the year. So a 4 indicates 1974. This one weighs 1966 grams. The year I was born. How do you like that? Okay, and I'll put the medium up first. This is just a crash, 2002 20-inch crash. This one, serial number 910674, that puts it at 1979. And this one's got a little bit of a keyhole there, but still in good shape. Thankfully, no cracks or anything. Knock on maple. There it is. So I'll play these a little bit, and then I'll swap out that medium and put the crash up. Maybe what I'll do is put the 20-inch crash here, and then you can hear the comparison between the two 20s. Oh, I forgot to put my Sound Edge hi-hats on. Dang nabbit. Hang on. Where are they? Here they are. And like I said, I'm going to do a complete hi-hat video soon. That'll be the next one. I'll talk about my theories about Bonzo's hi-hats and what he was playing when and all that kind of stuff. Get into a little more detail about the hi-hats. So let's have a listen now to the crashes. Okay, I'm going to put the other 20-inch crash up now, and we can compare the 20s, the medium and the crash. There we go. Oh, and before I forget, I got an announcement that I want to make. Tomorrow, Terry and Billy Harrington and I are going to be doing a live chat, and we're going to be covering some of these topics and theories about Bonzo's gear, particularly his cymbals and also his bass drum muffling techniques, and a whole bunch of other stuff we're going to nerd out on. So hope you can join us for that tomorrow, Saturday. It's going to be at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, so 2 p.m. Chicago time, 3 p.m. East Coast New York time. And then Sunday, I'm doing a live chat. I'm going to be tuning my old Supra live and chatting with you all while I do it, so you can just, kind of see the process that I use to tune my snare drum. I got a lot of requests for that, so I figured that would be a good way to celebrate my hitting 10,000 subscribers, which I'm very thrilled about and very flattered that I got to 10,000 subscribers. So thanks to you all who have subscribed. And yeah, so that's going to be Sunday at 1 p.m. Chicago time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time this Sunday, Valentine's Day. So hope you can join me for that. I'll be tuning the snare and doing a live chat and answering questions. So, yeah, here's the 220s. Here we go. They're actually quite similar. The medium has more overtones, in my opinion, a little more color to it. So there you have it. Those are the crash cymbals, and hope this video was helpful and you enjoyed it. The next one's going to focus on the hi-hats, so I'll probably do that one in the next couple weeks. But thanks again for watching. Thank you for subscribing and getting me over the 10,000 mark. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Peace.